But it's clear to me that what I call the dinosaur culture is absolutely on its last legs, desperate to retain control, whether it's political, religious, or financial. And what they're just not seeing is that there's a rapid escalation of evolution going on at the consciousness level. I think all the things that have happened so far this year, astrologically, and where it's manifested physically on the surface of the planet, have all been like crowbars, where we've been yanked up a notch, up a notch, up a notch, and it's been kind of forced. And it's getting us ready for the big one, which is due in a few weeks' time. And it's now. This is not a drill. This is not a practice. It's now. We can't postpone this for 2 or 3 years. It's now, 2026. And the repercussions of this will continue through to the end of 28. But if we haven't made this leap by the end of 28, then we're screwed.
Namaste, everybody. Welcome to the show. I got an amazing guest for you today, guys. So we have maybe the most popular astrologer on YouTube. We got Mr. Steve Judd on the show. Steve, how are you doing? How is things?
Still alive.
Still alive? Yeah. I mean, you just came back from you have this event called Shifts Happen. You just finished that. I'd like to know, how was the event? Was there any insights? And I also want to know about the name, because I feel like it has a deeper meaning that I'd like you to explain for me.
Shifts happen. I rented a 130 bedroom hotel in St Albans and put on a 4-day show with some of the best independent astrologers in the world. Myself, Alex Trenoweth, Darby Costello, Penny Thornton, Rick Levine, and we had a blast. We had 115 people there from 26 different countries, people flying in from Australia, South America, Korea, all different age, different race, different color, different genders, different religion, all unified by a love of astrology. And we had an amazing time. There's a great deal of laughter, excellent food. On the last day, a big bunch of us, about 40 of us, went on a coach tour to Avebury Stone Circle. And and there were some crazy moments. We did a mad, completely unplanned, spontaneous karaoke session until about 3 in the morning, which there are certain videos around which are not me, it's AI, honest. And it was an amazing event. And it was the second one we've done. Might be the last one,
Mm.
because it took so much out of me that I don't know if I could do it again. But I'm holding off on that decision until at least August of this year.
Right. Right.
And the name,
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask.
the true story is that I am coughing. I'm still recovering from COVID. You'd have to put up with that. About a year and a half ago, about December 24, I was talking with Rick Levine, and I said, look, a friend of mine's got this big hotel, and I really feel like putting on a show, because I was doing a couple of other shows with other astrologers, and they were like, yeah, we want to keep this small. We want to keep it to 20, 30 people. I'm like, yeah, why not take it big? And I was saying, well, we've got, technology's moving on. We can stream this now. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. So I thought, sod it, I'll do one on my own then. So I was talking with Rick, and he said, well, what are we going to call it? I went, I don't know, shit happens. He said, no, you can't call it shit happens, because that's just too offensive. And I thought, yeah, all right. So I just wrote down shit happens, and my pen slipped and it went shift happens. And then I thought, let's take that S off and put the other end down so it shifts happen. And that's how it came about. And it's a perfect name,
Yeah.
because one of the things that happened is everyone went through some type of consciousness shift when they realized that they were surrounded by their own tribe,
Mm.
unified by a love of astrology, regardless of anything else. And since shifts, there's so many different WhatsApp and Instagram groups of people just talking daily all over the world, just bringing astrology into the real world. And I mean, as an astrologer, what better can you ask for?
That's truly amazing. And guys, if you missed that event, you can go, I'll put the link in the description. You can buy recordings of that, I believe. And
Yeah.
you yeah, so make sure you do that. Um, Steve, so I'll let you know. I came across you at the end of last year. Okay, and I watched your video about 2026 and I was a bit mesmerized. Okay. You were saying that this was the year you've been looking at for decades.
Yeah.
And we're right in the middle of it now. It's halfway through the year, and I don't think you were wrong because things have changed greatly in the world. There's seeds of huge transformation, I think, globally speaking, in the world situation. How do you see the situation now? What's your current outlook of the situation in the world?
I think all the things that have happened so far this year, astrologically, and where it's manifested physically on the surface of the planet, have all been like crowbars,
Mm.
where we've been yanked up a notch, up a notch, up a notch, and it's been kind of forced. And it's getting us ready for the big one, which is due in a few weeks' time. Hopefully, you'll get this video out before that, because
Yes.
I'm looking at middle 10 days of July. I said at the start of this year, there was all the new moons and full moons in the same degree for 6 months, which simply doesn't happen. Then there was a Saturn Neptune conjunction in February at 0 degrees of Aries, which hasn't happened before. And then there was seven planet lineup in Aries, which has happened once before, 400 years ago, but not prior to that for 10,000 years. And then there's the lineup in July of all the outer planets in the same degree. And that's sort of the finale to this year, because by the time we're into early August, 90% of the challenges of 2026 are over. But it's pretty clear to me that uh, much of what we've been presented is a false narrative. Now, I don't do conspiracy theories at all. And I'm not buying into any of that crazy sort of hype and spin that's out there on social media. I am an astrologer. But it's clear to me that what I call the dinosaur culture is absolutely on its last legs, desperate to retain control, whether it's political, religious, or financial. And what they're just not seeing is that there's a rapid escalation of evolution going on at the consciousness level for basically being pushed by the 25, 30 year olds who are sick of the same old bullshit
Mm.
and looking for a new world. And I've been spouting this for decades because I can truly see a world where one currency.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, oh my God, we can't do that. It'll all be run by the Zionists or by Bill Gates or by the Masons. And it's like, oh, grow up, will you, and stop being so bloody paranoid. One currency would get rid of all the stock markets, all the exchange rates, and it'd be a unification. And that would lead eventually to one world with no national borders. Unify, and the only difference would be people's moon signs. I can see a world where the 12 tribes are going to be to the 12 different moon signs because I know I did this at shifts. I know you put people on a table and they've all got the moon in one sign, they're all going to get on. They're all going to have great fun. And it works. It's not about sun sign compatibility. That's a load of rubbish. It's about moon sign compatibility. And
Right.
if we had a planet where I've always said that if astrology were taught in schools, within 2 generations, we'd see an end to warfare, misogyny, environmental deprivation, and violence. And now we're at a situation where, thanks to the internet, we can teach astrology throughout the world free of charge. And it's getting out there. Astrology is becoming the lingua franca of the emerging consciousness revolution. It's becoming the Esperanto of the new social aesthetic. It's the language that no one speaks and everyone knows. So to me, it's astrology is going to save the world. And of course, I'm a dewy-eyed romantic with this. But hey, you got to have hope. You got to have a vision. And every big oak tree starts from a little seed.
Yes. Yeah, it's so true, and it's beautiful what you're saying, because yeah, all these nations, and borders, it's our imagination, isn't it? I mean, it's not really real. I mean, it can definitely change, you know.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, that's amazing. Can you talk about then July? What's coming up in July, and what can we kind of expect? What do you think is going to happen?
A year or two ago, Pluto moved into Aquarius for the first time in nearly 250 years. Last year, Neptune moved into Aries and did it again this year for the first time in 165 years. A few months ago, Uranus moved into Gemini for the first time in 84 years, 77 years. All of the outer planets are changing sign in the last year from feminine sides into masculine. This is going to have a kind of reverse polarity where the needs of the I've called it the divine feminine, but we're going beyond that now. Is coming more and more into the Gestalt. It's as if all the outer planets are saying it's time for a re-evolution, an upgrade. And what's happening is that in mid-July, Pluto's going to be at 4 degrees Aquarius, Neptune will be at 4 degrees of Aries, Uranus will be at 4 degrees of Gemini, and just for that middle 10 days of July, even the third week of July, Jupiter will be at 4 degrees of Leo. And when you have four of the big five planets all at 4 degrees, that's going to lead to some type of implosion and explosion. And I do not mean in terms of bombs. I'm talking about an explosion of consciousness. Um, there's a great deal of disenchantment around the world at the moment with so-called politicians, leaders, bankers, priests, the global elite who have run this planet for the last 5,000 years. And they're morally bankrupt and spiritually corrupt, as far as I'm concerned. All they're interested in is maintaining the old social order for their own benefit. And I'm not advocating revolution and any type of violence because the revolution that's inevitable is happening between our ears. It's a consciousness thing where we're just ignoring them and going ahead and doing what we're doing anyway, and they will become redundant. And it's the natural evolution of the species. We're expanding our consciousness so we use more of our bandwidth than we have done in the past, which is going to open our perceptive fields to embrace different ways of seeing the world, enhanced access to different energy fields where we start interacting with different types of energy field than we've done before. I'm deliberately being vague on this because I don't want to get too cosmic.
No,
Uh,
we want to get cosmic, Steve. Come on, this is Nama Shiva Yoga Union channel. We want to get cosmic.
Look, throughout history, there's been wise men and wise women who can see beyond, who can go beyond the parameters of imposed doctrine and culture. And we've called them witches or wizards or shaman. But actually, we all have these capabilities. We're all our own shaman now. And to my mind, just here, you've got the fair folk. And just over there, you've got Pixie and Troll and Brownie. And just there, you've got Crop Circle Maker. And all of these beings are indigenous to our planet, but just out in a different dimension, just outside of our range of perception. And by expanding our perception, we're going to emerge into a bandwidth of frequency where we'll be able to interact with these beings much more consciously and deliberately. And they're waiting for us because we're screwing up their planet at the moment. So they're waiting for us to sort of usher us into a much more a global community. And we used to say, oh, we're being welcomed by the Greys or the aliens or the ETs into a galactic community, to which I've always gone, oh, that is so narrow-minded. You know, I don't do ETs or aliens because I just don't. But different dimensions of existence where we're all indigenous to one planet. Yeah. We live at the bottom of a massive gravity well where we have to wear these sleeves that we call bodies in order to exist. Whilst we're down here, I'm fond of telling my clients, look, there is no such thing as karma. There is no such thing as religion. There's no such thing as death. It's just a transition of consciousness. There is eternal life. And if you get that, then you have to realize that you don't, birth is not accidental. You volunteer for this. You have your mission statement. There's a purpose to you coming to planet Earth. And part of the deal is that at the moment you land here, you forget why you volunteered. You spend the rest of your life remembering it. But that is about planetary salvation and the upgrade. And when I'm talking upgrade, I'm not talking like Windows 10 to Windows 11. This is not a program software upgrade, it's hardware. It's like Windows 3 to the latest Mac. The whole operating system of humanity is going through a cultural shift, the like of which our ancestors have sat around their campfires for tens of thousands of years dreaming of this moment. And it is our responsibility to pay respect and homage to our ancestors and our descendants to make that shift now, because the astrology is the clock that dictates the best times for this. And that's why it's now. I'm rambling, aren't I?
No, that's so cool. It's kind of like, in the yogic kind of outlook in it, like we've got this idea of yugas and that we're in Kali Yuga.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like what you're saying, isn't it? Because it's like we're moving into another planetary alignment, which naturally our brain and our system will vibrate at a higher level, and
yes,
our perception will just be more open, like you're saying, right?
yes, more bandwidth.
More bandwidth. Amazing. Wow, so cool. So much in that what you just said. You know what I'd love to do is go through the signs. Okay, you've got so much decades of experience, and I want to hear it straight from you, like the characteristics of the signs. What is the thing that these people need to know? What do they need to hear? Their shadow side, the real thing. And if we could do sun and moon, but I know that you've got some comments about sun signs. We want to hear it all. But obviously
Uh,
time is a factor.
uh,
But yeah, can we go from
isn't
there?
it isn't it an interesting coincidence that the full moon is exactly the same size to our eyes as the sun? When the moon is a lot further away from the Earth than it normally is, you get eclipses where you get the ring of fire, you see the outer edge of the sun. When the moon's a lot closer to the Earth than it normally is, it totally obscures the whole sun, and you just get the corona around the edge. But when it's at its normal distance, it's exactly the same size as the Earth. Now, that's because the sun is something like 380 times wider than the moon, but the moon is 380 times closer to the Earth than the sun. And if that wasn't exact, we wouldn't get eclipses. So these are coincidences. But the sun represents core, soul, heart. It is your uniqueness, your sense of identity and individuality. It cannot be influenced or affected by anyone else. It's what makes you you. But the moon reflects the light of the sun onto the earth. So it reflects the light of the sun out of the individual. So the moon sign is much more about your personality. It's the way you feel and emote. It's the way you deal with the world at a minute by minute level. So it's much easier. Whenever I play the stupid game of guessing someone's sun sign, I always guess their moon sign.
Can we go then moon signs, starting with Aries. What are the
They've
Aries?
all got a really interesting collection of scars underneath their hairline because they're all such headbangers.
Okay.
Actions speak louder than words. They're doers. They're impulsive, volatile, rash, brave, heroic, courageous, stupid, and they jump in head first. But then actions speak louder than words. Their motto is, I'm not interested in reasons, give me results. And I defy any of you with a moon in Aries to tell me otherwise.
By the way, guys, if you don't know your moon sign, you can find it out easily. Pause the video. You just need your date of birth, obviously, location and time, I believe. Isn't it right, Steve? Yeah, that's all you need, and you can come back and watch this. All right, Taurus. Let's
Taurus
see.
moon, supposedly the best place in the sky for the moon, emotionally solid, stable, down to earth, grounded, reliable, thorough, consistent, perseverant, boring. Um, they get things done. They're not the fastest by a long way, but they're reliable. They don't budge. They're not flexible, but they persevere and they are so good at hanging on to the money. And they're all good cooks. They love their food, or more than they love their money, and that's saying something. Um, and yeah, we need the moon in Taurus. They're not exciting at all. But after having had the moon in Aries with all their headstrong fire energy, you need Taurus's down to earth, grounded energy to keep you stable. So it's a vital role for all of these moon signs.
So you're saying when you were saying that, there'd be no war if everybody knew astrology. If you had like a Taurus city, we're talking it's gonna have great restaurants, it's gonna be orderly, it's gonna be, maybe a little boring or something, but it's gonna be. Is that what you think?
I wouldn't choose it as as a vacation destination. But
Yeah.
yes, you're right. It'd have great restaurants and there'd be good financial control and food would grow in the fields and it would be reliable. Yeah. Yeah.
I love
Whereas if
that.
you had
Love
an
that.
Aries city, they'd all be walking around going, who can I fight next?
Okay, next we got Gemini.
I consider the moon in Gemini to be the most difficult place for the moon because the moon is all about feelings and emotion, but Gemini is all about thought and intellect. So for people with a moon in Gemini, they're all going, I feel like this. Why do I feel like this? Let's unpack it. Let's categorize it. Let's take it apart and see if I can put it back together again. And they never can because feelings are not logical. Feelings are irrational. But Gemini is logical and rational. So it's a paradox. They spend so much time trying to understand themselves and the world around them that they get caught up in words and they lose track of the main thing. I mean, if you had a city of Gemini energy, it would all be libraries, internet service stations, radio stations, and there'd be a lot of talking, not so much action.
Got it. Got it. Next, Cancer. What are we
Ah,
saying?
well. Where's your moon sign, Shiv?
You know, my mum doesn't know the time I was born. So she
Doesn't
says
always.
it's between 9 a.m. and midday, July the 29th, 91. So I don't actually know.
July 29th, 91. I'll tell
Yes,
you. July 29th, 91, between 9 and midday,
that's it.
29th of July,
29th of July
you've definitely got the moon in Pisces.
in Pisces. Okay, cool.
Cancer moons, they're supposed to be, the moon rules Cancer. It's supposed to be the best place in the sky for it. I disagree. I think Taurus is better. Thing is with moon in Cancer is that all the men are mummy's boys and all the women are, oh, they love their kids. And the thing is with the moon in Cancer, they're brilliant at homemaking, cooking. They make great family homes. They're really good at making everyone feel wanted and secure and stable. They give great hugs and cuddles. And they are the moodiest, touchiest, grumpiest people in the zodiac. I'm in a bad mood. And then everyone goes, oh, what's wrong? What have I said? How can I help? at which point the moon in Cancer explodes and says, go away. Sensible people with the moon in Cancer won't try and explain their moods. Let's just go, look, I'm in a bad mood. Leave me alone. Give me 5 minutes, I'll be fine. But if you keep bugging me, I'm going to be like this all day and everyone will suffer.
Awesome. Now, my sun sign, but what's the moon sign saying for Leo, for the Leo people out there?
Biggest kids in the zodiac, right? Leo moon, they love it. They're inner child. They sometimes resentful of their own children because their own children steal their limelight. Leo moon's a great sign for the moon because they're flamboyant, fun-loving, creative, but they do like the spotlight. You know, they all have stupid hairstyles and they don't, yeah, they really like pushing their kids forward, but they can get a bit jealous of their kids. I suppose once they mature, around about 85, um, um, they learn the difference between being childish and childlike. Once they embrace their inner child, they're fine. They love playing with kids, not for the playing, but not for the winning, but for the fun of playing. That's what childlike is all about.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Virgo.
Virgo moon. Yeah. It's actually a really nice place to have the moon. Very effective and efficient and focused. Very good at keeping the place tidy. Very neat. They always get the washing done. They hate people who smell bad. Um, um, but yeah, a bit anal, bit overly fussy, but that goes with the territory. Moon in Virgo is focused. It's very good with the fingers, whether it's massage, jigsaws, guitar or keyboard. Very digitally aware and they don't miss a trick. They get things done and they pride themselves on efficiency, effectiveness, focus and concentration. But they do take a long time to get things done because they never leave a stone unturned and they miss the big picture sometimes by being too caught up in the details. Go on then. Libra.
Next we got Libra. Yes.
Devil in the deep blue sea. Everyone says, oh, Moon in Libra is a really nice position because it's charming and subtle and tactful and diplomatic. Yeah, it is. And can't they make their mind up to save their life? I don't know. It's up to you. What do you think? Where shall we go? What shall I think, dear? You know, put them on the spot and try and get them to make decisions. They always see the best of both sides. They make great referees, adjudicators, judges, arbitrators. And yeah, they dislike never take them to a punk rock gig or to Tchaikovsky or Beethoven. They dislike loud, offensive energies. They like subtlety and refinement. Never take them to an all-you-can-eat for £10 restaurant. Take them to fine dining, to a high couture Parisian restaurant. They'll love it.
Okay, yeah. That's amazing advice. Next, Scorpio.
Scorpio moon's got a bad reputation and it's undeserved. Yes, when young, a lot of them do go through fear when you know what you're scared of, phobia when you know that you're scared but not what of, or paranoia, which is a persecution complex. But the older they get, the more they discover psychology, the more they become aware of what it is that makes other people think, feel, and behave the way they do. And the more they then turn that same psychological energy into an analysis of themselves. They make their own best psychoanalysts. They make great private detectives or forensic accountants or criminal psychologists. You cannot lie to someone with the moon in Scorpio. They know. And they forgive, but they never forget. And if you lie to them once, you're toast. Because if you lie once, you will lie again. So if you're dealing with a moon in Scorpio, deal with them honestly, even if it means telling them what they don't want to hear, and they'll stick by you. But don't expect them to become your overnight friend. They take decades to trust people. because when they trust for life.
Interesting. Really interesting. Okay, next we got Sagittarius.
I have to, I've got the moon in Sag, so I cannot be objective here. Loud, unsubtle, tactless, not diplomatic at all. Honest, straightforward, straight shooting. They travel more than anyone else. They laugh louder than anyone else. They wear longer, baggier sweaters than anyone else. Um, they sometimes need pointing out the lack of realism in their philosophies. And when young, they all have a dreaded fear of the C word, C word being commitment. But as moon signs go, it's generally favorable. It's just that they're very good at putting their foot in it and saying exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time. And they get away with it because their friends turn around and go, oh, that's just Steve. He doesn't realize what he's saying.
Right, right.
Sometimes I have a basic philosophy with the moon in Sagittarius that says, if you always tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Next we got Capricorn.
Moon in Capricorn. Traditionally one of the most difficult places for the moon, but I disagree. I think the moon in Capricorn's not bad. It's not hot on sort of fun and demonstrations of emotion. And they all need a week's practice to go on holiday. But they're kind of when it comes to words like loyalty and structure and hard work, they're brilliant. They're really good at handling responsibility and authority, coordinating, organizing, managing, facilitating. Um, Not very good at taking orders, good at giving them. Um, it's a good position, but they do need to learn to have a bit more fun as they age. Having said that, people with a moon in Capricorn from about age 60, 65 onwards, they are the ones who grow old disgracefully, kicking and screaming, becoming more and more cantankerous and irascible, but having fun doing it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. All right, Moon in Aquarius.
They're the weirdos of the zodiac. There's nothing normal about them. They're not abnormal, they're different. And they love the difference. None of their friends are normal. All of their friends will wear three-piece suits and bright pink berets. They thrive on the unconventional and the different. Whenever I'm dealing with a Moon and Aquarius client, not all of them, but many of them, I say, if I was employing you, I'd be using you as problem solver, troubleshooter, someone who thinks outside the box and comes up with unusual solutions to old problems. Moon and Aquarius, I'm pretty sure that at least 50% of them are kind of AI constructs from Sirius C. Um, they're not very good at dealing with superficially, not very good at dealing with emotion and feeling. They prefer to be cold, detached, impersonal. Underneath, they're screaming inside. They're just waiting for the quality of tribe and friendship where they do feel safe enough to unload.
Last but not least, and now it's personal because I've just found out that I'm a Pisces moon.
Moon in Pisces is empathic, intuitive, sensual, receptive, artistic. It wallows in self-pity, world champion at feeling sorry for itself. They're all closet alcoholics, even if they don't drink. And they need 10 minutes alone every single day to discharge. Otherwise, they end up like a fuse box with too much electric passing through it. They pick up so much stuff from the outside world that it's grim if they don't get that time alone because they just fall apart. Um, and the thing is with the moon in Pisces, they'll just look at you with such wide eyes, like big cow eyes, and go, "Who, me? I couldn't do something like that." Yeah, underneath it, they're the most sneakiest and manipulative moon sign there is because they get you to do something without you realizing that they want you to do it. They get you to think that you want to do it, and that's a skill.
Oh, nice. Nice, nice. Okay, cool. Um, That was amazing, Steve. Thank you so much. Um, you know that you have described astrology as a goddess,
I
and
have.
I love that. Um, you know, is it like how do you see it? The planets that have an effect on us, are these like the children of the goddess and they have their own kind of archetype that influence us in a particular way? Could you speak about the planets specifically?
Don't different. There's a difference between astronomy and astrology. Astronomy is the study of the movements of the planets and stars in the heavens. Astrology is the study of the effects of those movements. They were one and the same thing until the invention of a telescope. Um, if you have a shortwave radio and you know where to look, you can listen to the electrical bursts from Jupiter on your shortwave radio. And if these electrical bursts from Jupiter are hitting your radio, then they're hitting you. Now, this
Mm.
is astrology by another name. Um, it's easy to demonstrate how planets like the moon and Jupiter affect us because of the effect of the moon on the tides and on animals, the effects of Jupiter with radio. And by extrapolation, you can say the same for Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn. When you get to a planet like Pluto, 4.5 billion miles away and smaller than our moon, then you have to reach for quantum to find some type of way of expressing it. Because I cannot prove to a scientist or a mathematician how Pluto works using their rationale. But I can provide them with 20,000 statistics showing that it has the most incredible effect. And if there's anyone out there who denies how strong Pluto is, I ask you to look at the lives of those people born from the 18th, 19th to the 23rd of January, or the 22nd to the 27th of July, or the people born from um, April the 20, 20th, 21st through to April the 27th, or the people born from October the 19th to the 25th. Any of these people will have experienced the intensity, the extremes, the obsessive compulsive, but also the purging, detoxing, cleansing, and purifying, and the transformation, regeneration, and rebirth influences of Pluto over this last 2 or 3 years.
Mm.
Fair share of manipulation and control freakery, but also breakthrough, although sometimes it's breakdown if people aren't prepared to deal with their own psychology.
Mm.
So yeah, I can prove how it works, but not in terms that. I mean, I love dealing with bishops and astronomers and scientists. I've got tens of thousands of statistics, which I can confuse them with. They live in such a narrow world that anything outside that world can't be true. And you say to me about astrology as a goddess. Um, what's your parents' ethnic origin? They from the Indian subcontinent?
Yeah, North India, Punjab,
So that's Sikh.
Sikh.
Yeah. Okay. In the late 1800s, a few British esotericists, Helena B. Blavatsky, Alan Leo, MacGregor Mathers, went to India and they got involved in the Hindu way of looking at astrology. And when they came back to the UK, they brought something back from that called the North Node. What's it called in the Hindu? It escapes me at the moment. And they brought back with it the translation from the Hindu of the North Node as having to do with karma and reincarnation, as in, if you suffer this lifetime and you thrive well, you will do better next lifetime. And for years, I was sort of going, yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. And then I realized it comes from a culture where 95% of people have nothing but their begging bowl and their loincloth. And I realized it was just another religious guilt trip. But the idea of the North Node as a symbolic point in the horoscope is really relevant. So instead, I translated it, as I said earlier, as mission statement, purpose, and reason why he volunteered to come to planet Earth in the first place. With that came the knowledge that there's no such thing as death, just a transition of consciousness from the physical to the non-physical. And with that, I realized that if there's no death, then there's life before birth and life after death. Therefore, astrology is a really good blueprint of potential. It's a map of how to remember why you volunteered to come here and what you're meant to be doing. And because of that, it is an alive force. It is not just a sterile map because it's full of potential, which you can choose to develop if you wish. Once I realized that astrology is not in it. So in my own imagination, I started talking about astrology as a she. And from there, it's just a small step to realizing that people don't find astrology. Astrology finds people. And if astrology finds people, it's because astrology wants to work with them. They have potential. And astrology is finding more and more people. And here's one of the very few benefits of social media. Because in the last 10 years, there's been a massive explosion of young, untrained astrologers, which on the one hand, I'm looking at and going, oh, really? This is rubbish. How can you put this stuff out? And on the other hand, I'm thinking, got to start somewhere. Got to begin somewhere. You'll learn through practice. And that's where I come in because I'll occasionally get in touch with them and go, oi, that's rubbish. You can't say that. And they'll go, oh, can we do an interview? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because astrology should be free to the world, at least in basic form.
Mm.
I mean, I make my money. My only source of income is from doing readings for people. And everyone thinks I'm living a great life. What they don't realize is that for the first 35 years, I was so heavily in debt. And it's only in the last 10 years I've made money.
Yeah.
So if people are going to be an astrologer for making money, forget it. It won't happen. But if you want to become an astrologer to A, empower other people and empower them into becoming more, catalyze them into becoming more self-empowered, which then means the world will become a better place. B, to learn about the esoteric in a way that expands your worldview and your personal philosophies in a way 100 times bigger than you could previously have imagined. And C, to do the world and your own soul some good, then yeah, the money's very nice, but it's not the main reason.
You know, if someone they because so many people are looking for what you're saying, they're looking for the reason they came here on Earth because the Earth is challenging. Let's not pretend that it's an easy ride for anybody. You know, you look at someone, you might think they got it easy, whatever, and it's like everybody has immense struggles. How can astrology help them? What should someone who's watching this, what should they do? How can they approach the astrology to give them an insight into their life journey?
When I see the easy charts, and I see easy charts all the time, these are the people without a lot of challenges in their charts. And they go ahead and they get the guy and they get the girl and they get the kids and the family and they get the job and the big house and the fast car and they get it all. Except they never become happy. Whereas when I see the difficult charts with lots of squares and oppositions, they struggle. Often the struggle lasts a minimum of 40 years, sometimes 50 years. But they struggle and they don't give up and they keep coming back. And they do everything the hard way and they don't take shortcuts. And they become very, very successful. Not necessarily determined by riches or fame, but they get self-confident, self-belief. They become content in themselves. They become integrated, assimilated, holistic. They become a successful human being. I differentiate between human beings and humans being. We're all human beings, but humans being takes a consciousness shift where you realize that you're here for a purpose. And part of that purpose is to catalyze both yourself and the world around you into becoming a more integrated place. And that's why astrology is not something. I'm not a healer. I despise healers because you say I'm a healer. Oh God! You heal someone, they just get addicted to you.
Mm.
Whereas if you come into someone's life and act as a catalyst, which is what the horoscope does, then they become self-empowered. I wake people up to their potentials. I give them new ways of thinking. I show them new ways of seeing themselves. And they go away then and think about it. And then they come up with new ideas and go, well, the planet said I can do this, so let's try. And yeah, sometimes they fail. But it's better to try and fail than not to try at all. And, the more you plug away, the more you keep going, the more successful you become. And the horoscope is just one way of it's what I call a blueprint of potential. It shows you what you can do, what you're good at. And it also gives you the best timings to do it. But I belong to the free will school of astrology, not the more deterministic or fatalistic. I don't do destiny or fate. I do free will. I mean, we're here for a purpose and we will do that purpose. But the way we choose to do it is up to us. It's negotiable, in my opinion. This is all my opinion, you understand. I'm not laying down rules. There is no overseeing body of astrologers. Every other practice, there's bodies of homeopaths or hypnotists or aromatherapists, not astrologers. Astrologers don't mate well in captivity. You get a bunch of astrologers together, you're in for trouble. They tend to disagree about a lot of things. It's quite funny, actually.
That's funny. So we covered to near the end now of our time together. I mean, we're all about we want to spread good vibes, good consciousness. What is the ideal scene that you see, Steve, through your lens of perception, how for humanity, for this planet? What would the best case scenario for us be? Because we have, as a species, we have so much potential. This could be an amazing place. I want to see, from your point of view, what would be the ideal scene, ideal world?
The other day, I saw a comedian that I quite like, Jimmy Carr. He said to someone in the audience, "What do you do?" And she turned around and said, "My best." And I thought, what a great answer. Um, there's so much free astrology out there now. It takes 2 minutes to find a free astrology website, to put in your date of birth, place of birth, time of birth, and to come up with a horoscope for yourself. And then you can spend hours, days, weeks, years researching what that means. There's so much free astrology out there. And the more you research, the more you get an insight into yourself. I'm fond of saying one planet, 8 billion different worlds. Perception is everything. We've been force-fed divisive conditioning for 5,000, 10,000 years by a patriarchal institution designed by old men in skirts who just want to have control over everyone else, particularly women and children. And now we're emerging into a culture where everyone's becoming self-empowered, and astrology is one of the tools of this. And the more you know yourself, the more self-empowered you become. This in turn will lead to a self-empowered planet. And we're one species, we all live on the same planet. Religion particularly has been the biggest tool of dominator culture, divisive conditioning for thousands of years. My God is bigger than your God. Which in these days, it's ridiculous that people are still thinking in this terminology. It's such a 18th century construct. I really do fail to understand it. But these people believe it. And as church attendances go down, so fundamentalism will go on the rise until at the end, there'll just be one fundamentalist left. I said, I truly, in my heart of hearts, if everyone were to discover their own horoscope and dig out their own interpretations, they would become more self-empowered than they ever thought possible. And then overnight, their perception would shift. The world would become a better place, not just for them, but for everyone around it, because they would moderate their behavior and they'd seek out other like-minded beings. I know it sounds like utopia, but the alternative is dystopia. And it's now. This is not a drill. This is not a practice. It's now. We can't postpone this for 2 or 3 years. It's now, 2026. And the repercussions of this will continue through to the end of 28. But if we haven't made this leap by the end of 28, then we're screwed. Then within a few generations, we'll become extinct because climate change, war, drugs, it'll destroy us. Now, I've got grandchildren. I want there to be a better planet for my grandkids and their grandchildren. And I believe that by putting astrology out into the world, which is outside of the remit of any religion, astrology's outlived every culture, every religion, every empire. It's been around tens of thousands of years at least. I've traced the origins of astrology at least back 60,000 years to people marking bones with 29 grooves, marking lunar cycles. I'm a fanatic, you know. I'm firmly in the camp of astrology. I can't see out of it. To me, it is the salvation of humanity, or one of them. And it's better than some mythical being who lives on a throne in a cloud in the sky and says you will do what you're told, otherwise you're going to go to hell and you'll be in a damnation for eternity. Oh, but by the way, God loves you. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? That is one last thing.
Yeah.
What do humans have that no other species on this planet has ever had? We've got 2 things. One is self-reflective consciousness, and the other is the ability to take the piss out of ourselves, to laugh at ourselves, to find humor in ourselves. They say laughter is the best medicine. It's an old one, but I think it's true. My catchphrase on my emails has always been, negativity can't exist where there's humor. I've had an email since 98. I've had a website since 2000. And it's always been, let's bring the humor in. Let's spread the joy. Because that's free. And it makes people feel better. What's not to like?
Brilliant. So many gems in this talk, and I don't know about you guys watching this. I'm feeling goosebumps. I'm excited. I mean, it's a crazy time, isn't it? Like you said, 26 to 28, you said we got to have this sorted by 28. So there's, I don't know. I guess we're privileged to be here at this time. And yeah.
We're all mission specialists now.
Wow. Guys, follow Steve, subscribe to his channel. I think he's on you're on Instagram as well, Steve. We'll put all that in the link. Yeah,
it's my techie that runs it, but yeah, I'm allegedly on Instagram. Yeah.
Follow him, subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to my channel as well. And thank you guys for watching. I want to say, guys, remember, you're not a stranger in existence. This is your home. Assert your divinity. Live fearlessly. Om Namah Shivaya. Yoga Union. Thank you, Steve, again. Thank you so much. And I'll speak to you soon.
Bye, world.
Bye, world. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I certainly loved making it. It was such a privilege for me to speak with Steve. He's so full of experience, wisdom, humor. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. I want to give a shout out to my friend Serena. She's over there at Celestial Gems Astrology. Give her a follow on Instagram. Really appreciate that. Also, guys, I teach Hatha Yoga. We have a club, and we have a very good curriculum where you can learn all the techniques of Hatha Yoga, asana, pranayama, mudras, and bandhas. It's an amazing heritage that we have in our hands, the Hatha Yoga system. I feel very privileged every day that I get to be a part of that and work to get these techniques part of the human life as much as we can, because it's just magic. If that sounds good, get in touch with me. There's a million ways you can message me on Instagram, and let's see if it's the right fit for you. Would love to meet you. So anyway, guys, I hope you have the best day ever, and be fearless and full of love. Ciao.